the era of the information overdose. Let me explain why reading a larger number of books won't necessarily make you more intelligent or wise, and why watching more TED Talks won't make you more disciplined or a better person. Before we start this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to learn more about self-development, dating, and how to reduce suffering in life. Let's go. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my journey in the realm of self-development and use that as a narrative and how to explain why just consuming more information won't make you a better person. So I spent years watching hours and hours across longer periods of time of motivational videos and reading self-help books. I would spend hours at a time watching endless self-help videos and how to be more disciplined or how to be more confident, etc. And after years of consuming all this information, I realized something. The information input did not match the output. I had listened to so much advice and wisdom, and only a few pieces of it actually stuck in my brain. I had forgotten the vast majority of the information. It essentially went in one ear and out the other. I had overdosed on information. Here is why. The higher the quantity of information you consume automatically means the lower the quality of the information. Now, objectively, the quality doesn't have to be lower if you consume more. If somebody makes a masterpiece of a movie, it doesn't mean it's lower quality, but if you consume different movies in high quantity for yourself, your interpretation is that of a lower quality then. So if you watch one video on how to train your discipline, let's say, and you stop watching the video right afterwards, you're more likely to remember the information that was given in the video. And if you close your laptop, you reduce the information that goes to your brain after the video. So you sort of retain the information and you're left with the content of the video. However, if you go on to watch 10 more videos on how to build discipline, then your mind is overwhelmed with the amount of information. You won't be able to remember the important details of the first video that you watched. Or let alone the last video you watched, because there was so much content, your brain doesn't know how to store all of this efficiently, so it just sort of shuts down and only absorbs the things that really stand out. And because most of the content you're watching it's very, very valuable and useful, but you set this sort of benchmark for value and you don't absorb the details anymore. So only if something spikes outside of that content, something absurd happens in the video, that you sort of retain, but the rest of the information, which is quite useful still, you don't remember them. And it's like with movies. What's the point of watching tons of movies if you forget them? Well, you may say, okay, it's fun and it's relaxing, it's chill to watch movies, but you don't need to watch endless movies to chill. And you can chill for one movie, and that's okay. And you don't need to binge watch a whole series in order to relax. And by the way, when you're in front of a screen, you're being fed with so much information, which is really the case for any electronic, and that means your brain actually isn't relaxing. So have you ever noticed, let's say when you're taking a studying break, and you go on your phone to take a break, after your break, once you get back to studying, you actually realize that your brain didn't recover, you didn't relax, you didn't calm down. Your brain did not get a break because the information occupies your mind, because you have to absorb it and you don't relax then. So movies and series, they might be relaxing, but the relaxation could be optimized a lot more. You could do activities that are far more how do you say, bring you serenity, let's say. So, and with these this information input, your brain is being overloaded with dopamine, which is getting produced by new information, because dopamine is a feel-good hormone, and that's why you keep wanting to consume more information, because it gives you dopamine. but then the information doesn't stick, and dopamine arises because humans actually have like a novelty bias, so they are drawn to new information, and that gives you a kick, a dopamine kick. So you're always sort of enticed to consume more information, which is obviously doesn't help the problem here. And you know, most social media platforms tap into this dopamine addiction inducing process. So if your brain is used to loads and loads of information, it will be harder to retain information, because you know your brain it's not static, but it can only consume so much. But if you increase and increase and increase the amount that is absorbed, like your brain can't handle it. It can only handle so much in a single time period. And social media platforms are actually configured and designed to exploit this novelty bias in your brain and this dopamine loop. For example, Instagram employed casino game creators to help design the app to make it as addictive as possible. And you know, the scroll function, the refresh function, like when you swipe upwards in order to refresh on your phone, like on Instagram, that's what do you call it? That wheel that spins around is based off a slot machine in gambling or in casinos, like where you pull the slot machine and these sort of wheels start spinning around, and you're like, what's it going to be? Am I going to hit the jackpot or something? What's it going to be? And it's the same with this. When you pull down, like, what's the new post going to be on my Instagram feed? It's addictive. It taps into your dopamine. And to resolve this, of course, you know, I'd like to give you some sort of a solution in how to overcome this. It's very difficult, but I have a little bit of an idea. So I decided to resolve this issue by being a lot more discriminative in regards to what I consume as information. I stopped binging movies and YouTube and Netflix series. I took sort of far more time with every book I would read, I would read books very slowly, and I still do very slowly, highlight sections of the book that I need to or want to retain, and take notes on the book. So once I read the book, then I go back to my highlights, read them again as an attempt to retain the information, because it's all about, I want to incorporate this knowledge, and that is best done, like your brain can only retain so much, so really reduce the amount and choose quality content then. So be very discriminative, and you know, naturally I took a lot more care with the books I chose. Like I would really make sure I choose the right book that I need at the right time, at that certain time. So I would be stuck with it, or not stuck, but I would be working through a book for a long period of time. For example, I've been reading the book Archetypes and the Collective Unconscious by the psychoanalyst Carl Jung. I've been reading this book now for 2 months, and I'm only like a third through with the book. I've only got like a third done, and I'm trying to absorb as much knowledge as possible. And I chose this book because I thought it would be most useful to me at this point in my life. But I have to say, I'm doing a lot of studying right now. I don't necessarily have a lot of time to read, so I am going slow anyway. But also this book, one needs to say, is very intellectually challenging. It's quite complex, it's quite spiritual, has some difficult vocabulary, and to really grasp the full message of the book, you need to read it slowly. And I sort of read every paragraph, you know, like at least twice, usually 2-3 times, because this book is written in a way that each sentence is placed in its place for a reason, and there's a message behind it. And I think that is very much the case of a lot of content in life. If you really try to absorb the full thing, you can get so much more out of it. But if you're watching so much, your attention is not able to absorb the entire message of it, of the piece of art that is being delivered and you're trying to interpret. Yeah. So in conclusion, the era of the information overdose is because we have access to so much information, and because the information is of such high quantity, our ability to interpret it fully and retain information goes down. And you can overcome this by being more discriminative, reducing the amounts you absorb, and taking more time with the content you absorb, so to really grasp the message of it. Yeah. So Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to learn more about self-development, dating, and how to reduce suffering in life. Okay, that was it. Thank you for listening.